Hello YouTube. We're going to do a little walk around video on my 1999 Chevy Tahoe two-door OBS. I have wanted one of these trucks for 34 years, ever since they came out in 1992. I was in high school, and they were not called the Tahoe back then. They were actually called the Blazer because they were derived from the old square body Blazer. And then around 1995, they changed the name to the Tahoe because the Blazer became the mid-size vehicle. And this one's a 99, so the last year of the two-door. The late 90s, 99, 2000 was a transitioning time for General Motors trucks. The 99 Silverado, of course, was the new body style, the GMT 800. But the Tahoes and the Suburbans were still being built on the OBS chassis like this. In 2000, the Suburban would move to the new truck. But the Tahoes were still being built on this chassis in 2000. Of course, they were only 4 doors. So this one being a 99, like I said, last year of the two-door. I'm not quite sure why the two-door didn't survive. They don't make them anymore. We can speculate. I mean, like most things, most business decisions, it comes down to money. I guess the truck didn't sell well enough for GM to continue it. And kind of makes sense if you're single or it's just you and your significant other. This is probably a great vehicle, but as your family grows, guys, you wake up one morning, you got a ring on your finger and a baby in your arms. As your family grows, trying to get kids in and out of the back of this without side doors, I can see that being a bit of a hassle. Maybe that had something to do with it, but I love these things. Great truck. We are calling it a truck. You could argue it's a sport utility vehicle, but it's built on a truck frame, and my insurance company says it's a truck, so we're calling it a truck. The color on this rig is indigo blue or dark Adriatic blue metallic. I've seen it listed both ways under the same RPO. It's got the LT trim package. I do not know what all that includes, but you can see it's got chrome bumpers, chrome grille. The fender flares are painted in the body color. And of course, inside it's got some leather seats, premium sound, all that. And of course, barn doors. If you want to get a Tahoe or a Suburban, guys, you got to get the barn doors. Roof rack and a hitch. Roof rack might not stay on there though. It doesn't fit in my garage with the roof rack, so we're thinking about taking it off. And I think it would look a little cleaner without it, but we'll see. Inside the truck, typical GM 90s, a lot of plastic. Got power everything, power windows, power door locks, power mirrors. You can see the driver's seat's definitely showing some age. If I haven't mentioned it yet, this truck only has 168,000 miles on it. And since it's 2026, the truck's 27 years old, almost 28 years old. That averages out to about 6,000 miles a year. So it's been well loved, well taken care of over the years. Let's see, 168, 420. Had just under 168 when we brought it home. AC, CD, premium sound system. Only thing on this truck that is not functional is a CD player. So we'll have to work on that. There's a crack in the dash. Headliner's in excellent shape. Got the back seat that folds down and comes out. Roof console, center console. 8, yes, I said 8 cup holders for a vehicle that really only holds 5 people. That's the way it should be. Of course, in the back, here's our cargo area. Plenty of space. Spare tire. Spare tires in the back. Why is that? That's real simple. Over here on the pickup trucks, the OBSs, the gas tank would be right here, behind the cab, in front of the rear axle. And the spare tire would be back here under the bed, suspended between the frame. But with a 2-door, 111-inch wheelbase truck like this, there is no space for gas tank here. So we put gas tank here. And that's why the spare tires moved inside. But it comes out easy. Plenty of room for hauling stuff back here. And that rear seat does come out. So barn doors are the way if you want one of these trucks. Barn doors are the way. Let's take a look under the hood. two engine options in these trucks in 1999. The 5.7 liter Vortec, which is what we have here, and the 6.5 turbo diesel. Those are extremely rare. I knew somebody that had one, and it was a neat truck. I mean, those diesels sounded cool and stuff. They probably weren't one of GM's better motors, but they're super rare nowadays. I haven't seen one of those in a really long time. But this has the Vortec 350 Gen 1 small block Chevy. This version of the small block Chevy is the last iteration that would ever appear in production GM vehicles. They would be in vans for a couple more years after this truck was made. Somewhere around 2002, 2003, everything switched to the LS platform. So the LS motors are just amazing. I mean, from a domestic standpoint, they're probably the best engine that Detroit has ever put out. But I still love old school small block Chevys like this. I mean, it's what I grew up with. I think I was like 13 or 14 the first time I turned wrenches on a small block, and yeah, they're always going to hold a special place in my heart. 90 plus million of these engines have been made since the 50s, and they still make them today. General Motors still manufactures brand new small block Chevys today for the aftermarket and for replacement stuff. So I'm pretty confident these engines are going to be around for quite a few generations, and hopefully my great grandkids are still wrenching on them. Vortec cylinder heads. These were a big deal when they came out in the 90s. One of the best flowing cylinder heads GM ever made. When they first came out, I remember I was hanging out with some dirt track guys back then, and the dirt track crowd very quickly scooped these heads up and started putting them on their race motors. A lot of those sportsman divisions, the rules specified you had to use like an OEM type cylinder head. Like it had to be if you were running a General Motors engine, you had to use a General Motors cylinder head. And most guys, you know, were using like the Chevy, the GM Performance bow tie heads, or even double hump heads, even though they were getting pretty rare even back then. But these Vortex came out, and they flowed so well, and people were snatching them up and buying new ones and putting big valves in them, and you know, throwing them on their race motors. This truck has like I think it's 9.5, 9.4 to 1 compression, 255 horsepower, 335 foot-pounds of torque. I wish it was a little bit better, but it runs great. Got about 15 miles to the gallon out of it so far. On the road trip home, which is about 450 miles, we were cruising the highway the whole way at 75, and we got just over 15. I was hoping for something closer to like a 17 or 18, but you know, is what it is. You don't buy these things for the gas mileage. Anyway, the injection system is the CSFI, or sometimes see it referred to as CFI, or the Spider system. So center sequential fuel injection. Throttle body, only thing coming through the throttle body is air. And then back here is the injector housing, and all 8 injectors are inside that thing. And it sits under this top part of the manifold. The intake is 2 pieces. It's got an aluminum base, and you got this composite piece that sits on top of it. And then off of that injector housing are 8 little tubes that run to each cylinder. Interesting design. I mean, not quite the same as like a multi-port system. Maybe a little more advanced than a throttle body system, but still not great. And so a couple years after this came out, General Motors released an upgraded version of that part. It's a direct bolt-in, it's a direct swap for the existing part, and you take it out, put it in, and the injectors are on the end of the hoses now, as opposed to being in that center unit. So it hasn't been upgraded on this truck. It might be someday. They often refer to that as the spider injection, by the way, because it looks like a spider. You've got this body and then 8 little legs coming off of it. It's on the list of things to do for the future. I don't see any need to do it right now, but perhaps when I change the intake gaskets on this engine, would be a good time to change that. Yeah, these engines, for whatever reason, are known for leaking intake gaskets, and that really baffles me, because the Vortex cylinder head was designed with a different intake bolt pattern. So the intake bolts on the Vortex go straight down into the cylinder head, as opposed to the old school small blocks where they were angled, and that was supposed to be done to help with sealing, and yet somehow these are known for leaking coolant. I'm guessing GM just maybe went shoddy on materials. I don't know, but yeah, great engine, old school small block. It's got an oil cooler. It's got the auxiliary transmission cooler. I mean, it's set up for towing and working and all that good stuff. Underneath the truck, we have a 4L60E, which is the electronic version of the 700R4 overdrive. We have the MP246 auto track transfer case, which is known for its pump rub issue. That has not been addressed on this truck as far as I know, but will be done in the future. Down here and take a look. You can see, I didn't mention earlier, but this truck is rust free. Like, there's some very minor, there's a little bit spot right there in that corner. That is the extent of the rust on the body of this truck. It is completely solid. There's no holes, no major rust. That's all easily addressable. The frame still has some of the factory undercoating on it. You can see that, and you know, the bare spots where it's got some surface rust. But it's super clean underneath. Nothing's leaking. It's got the skid plate on the front transfer case. It's got a skid plate here in the middle. GM 10 bolt, 8.5, 342 gears, limited slip. And yeah, pretty basic stuff for 90s GM. Super clean truck. The guy that owned it before me is an owner of a Chevy dealer, and he collects these. And this is the one that he was driving every day. And he's got like 4 or 5 other ones that just like real pristine low mileage examples that just basically sit around in his shop. And if you've looked around for these trucks anytime recently, you know that those trucks, those low mileage examples that are pristine, go for $30,000, $40,000. I paid $11,000 for this. With 167,000 miles in the condition you see it in. So it's perfect. It's a 20-footer. From back here, wow, it looks fantastic. Cleans up really nice. Turns a lot of heads, gets a lot of attention going down the road. It's nice enough that, you know, you could take it to a car cruise or even a car show and get a lot of attention. But, you know, you get up close, you can see there's some minor little dings here and there. And the interior is certainly showing its age. So it's perfect. Nice enough to turn some heads, but used enough that you can drive it. What are our plans for this truck? Number 1, we're going to drive it. Number 2, we're going to maintain it. Number 3, we're going to have fun with it. Not planning any crazy tear down and rebuild. No LS swaps, you know, maybe in the future. We're just going to keep it on the road and drive it and have fun with it. As things wear out, we'll upgrade it with, you know, maybe some better parts. We got some fun road trips in mind. We're thinking about maybe taking it to Alaska, but yeah, it's a survivor. It's in great shape, and I just want to just keep driving it and enjoying it. Like I said, wanted one of these for 34 years. And I had a milestone birthday this year. I was born in '76. I'm a bicentennial baby, so you can probably do the math. This is 2026 when this video is being put out. You can do the math on how old I am. And I just got to thinking this year, you know, it's not like a midlife crisis thing, but I just got to thinking, like, wow, I haven't had a really cool vehicle in a long time. I mean, cars and hot rodding and turning wrenches was such a huge part of my life growing up in my teens and 20s, and I just got away from it. And the reason I got away from it was I had a Camaro that was my baby, and I hot rodded, 3rd gen car. And as I started modifying it and doing more and more work to it, it got to the point where I couldn't drive it anymore, primarily because of emissions. So it basically just sat in storage, and that really just kind of extinguished the fire. And I just kind of lost interest in it. And been doing other stuff for the past 20 years, you know, like getting married, raising a family, shooting guns, doing that kind of stuff. And it's just lately, I don't know, I blame YouTubers for it, because I've been watching a lot of channels, and you know, some of the big names, and they just kind of reignited that passion. So I went out and started looking for a project car. I was looking for a C4 Corvette, because I love C4 Corvettes, even though C4 Corvettes aren't really made for me. I'm 6'4", and couldn't really find a C4 Corvette that I really loved. But I stumbled across this thing on eBay, and it just spoke to me. And I went back and forth on it for a couple of weeks. You know, my wife was like, you need to just buy it. That thing's awesome. And so I finally did. And then we drove about, like I said, about 400 miles up to Minnesota to get it and bring it home. The funny thing is, the guy that sold it to me told me that when the listing ended, he started getting blown up with all these emails of people wanting to know what happened. Like, was it still for sale? And I guess what people weren't paying attention to or didn't realize is it wasn't an auction. It was a buy it now. So everybody, there's like 70 people watching this truck on eBay. If you were one of them, sorry guys, like, I don't know what you're waiting for. I was waiting because I couldn't make up my mind. And once you click buy now, it's done. It's off the market and it's mine now, and it's not going anywhere. But yeah, really love it. And that's it. We'll put some videos up once in a while as we're playing with it and working on it, and see if we can document the next 27 years. But you know, last thing I can say is, if you got a project that's maybe sitting in your garage, it's not running, or something you're not playing with, get it running, get it out on the road. And a lot of people are passing this message along right now, and it's the way to go, guys. Like, if you're not having fun with them, you're not enjoying them, you're just not gonna, you're gonna get to the point where you're like, you know, you're not gonna care. Out of sight, out of mind, maybe. But get your projects on the road, get them out there, get them running, start having some fun with them. So, got any questions, comments, put them below, talk about it. But yeah, thanks for watching. 99 Tahoe, OBS, 2-door. Isn't she a beauty? See ya.